My name is David Turner. I've been working for Verizon since 1997. I live in a very small village called Avebury in Wiltshire. Very picturesque. With COVID, we have no visitors, so it's very quiet here at the moment. Having previously served in the British Army, I thought, how can I give back something to my community? I have been serving as a special constable since 2004. I have all the same powers as a regular paid police officer.
Just had a briefing, so know some of the assignments that I've got for today.
I deal with anything pretty much that a normal police officer would deal with, whether it's a car crash, a burglary or a break-in. The only things I won't do is I won't have a firearm, and I'm also not allowed a taser. Nobody knows whether you're a volunteer or not because we wear exactly the same uniform.
Good to go. I need to go out and respond to jobs over the radio as they come in.
COVID has impacted policing, which is where the special constables have been a real help. Police officers get the symptoms, have to self-isolate, so we're filling in the gaps. The last 8 weeks, it's been challenging. People have different interpretations of the COVID restrictions, and we have to explain, educate. It's really good to keep up the community engagement.
Just on a reassurance foot patrol here in the town of Marlborough here in the United Kingdom. So this is to give the public visibility and reassurance that the police are around.
We are finding a rise in domestic incidences.
Just returned from a domestic incident with a 16-year-old child. So back at the police station now and trying to do some paperwork.
I've learned a lot about vulnerable people, domestic violence, and just general how different cross-sections of the communities have their own problems. I really get the satisfaction of helping people come out of that situation and seek their help. There is also a sense of purpose in my community and my home life, as well as my sense of purpose within Verizon. It's just a really good fit. It's good for my mind, it keeps me focused. Even in policing, every day is a school day.
Mm-hmm. Thanks so much to David, and he talked there about his purpose. I appreciate him sharing that with us, and so many of our folks who, not going to say lead double lives, but serve in so many different capacities by day. They're Verizon employees, Verizon Media, Verizon Business, Verizon Consumer, what brings us all together. And then in the evening, afternoons, and weekends, they're doing things for their community. Also to note, David, as he mentioned, served there, and special thanks to all of those who served this weekend in the U.S. will be celebrating Armed Services Day or Armed Forces Day. So thanks to those folks, as well as Military Appreciation Month. But here we are, 12:03 on the East Coast. It is Friday, May 15th. Today on the show, we will have Guru giving us some updates on Verizon Media Group. We'll also be joined by a special guest for Wellness Friday. Looking ahead to Monday, I want to make sure that folks join. We will have Hans and Christy back, and they will be talking about our next steps and how we're moving forward together through the COVID-19 pandemic as we go forward. So want to start with Guru. Like I said, he is joining us today, and is the leader of our Verizon Media Group. Guru, lots of folks want to know a brief update, a general state of the business for VMG.
Hey, thanks, Jeremy. Good to see you and speak to you again. Before I discuss the state of the business, I want to commend you and for your amazing work during this COVID time. You've been, I'll tell you this, I hear this from my team, a daily staple in many of our lives over the last few months. And I can't believe you're saying few months now. And you've done a tremendous job. So thank you for that. And keep up the great work. That energy we needed every day, every minute. So earlier this week, I did one of the things. I asked my leadership team about the biggest changes and pivots we've done in terms of how we operate, how we focus as a company, as Verizon Media at least. What we've done. I was really blown away by the progress, the changes we've made, the focus we've done on our employees, our customers, our society, and broadly speaking, shareholder as well. So it was very impressive, and I'll share some of those nuggets during this chat today. And look, the summary here is we're listening to all our 4 stakeholders and are working in lockstep to meet their needs. our number one priority hasn't changed, which is we are really focused on safety and well-being of our employees. Just as we are doing the daily up to speeds, I've continued to at least talk to the employees on a regular basis within the Verizon media side. And we are following along there. And it's become great when we can answer, keep them motivated, have them come along. On the media business or B2C side, or on consumer side, we continue to see good momentum on audience building, mainly Coronavirus Hub, which we've talked about, as we've seen a sustained traffic increase on Yahoo News, Yahoo Finance. Our editorial teams have done an incredible job of providing trusted content. Nearly 900 million consumers globally, and that looks strong. We've also seen our media platform team bring amazing live events into homes of our users through initiatives like Pay It Forward Live. I'm hoping some of you caught the Chance the Rapper event last night, and of course we had Berkshire Hathaway live event that happened as well. So there are a lot of things that our media platform team is driving. That segues into our B2B media side. Despite challenging times on the advertiser side, we're seeing some amazing wins and partnerships. We announced recently with Ampersand, Nextdoor. Of course, we are strengthening our partnership with Microsoft on the current deal that we have. I'm very impressed in seeing the shift that our B2B teams are making in terms of closing new deals with advertisers and publishers as we continue through Q2. And then I would say last but not the least, which we've heard from Hans and Christy Allard and other leaders as well, we are continuing to make a meaningful impact on society through our commitment to mental health as we raise our awareness and open the conversation to help reduce stigma. And this is no doubt a very, very challenging time for many of us. And it's incredibly important that we keep talking about how we are doing and when we need to talk or need help. So as I look ahead, I think the rest of Q2, we'll go through this transition phase in a good way. I think the teams are going to be focused on all the 4 stakeholders and continue making progress.
Good, Guru. Thanks for that. And thanks so much for the kind words. Always appreciate that. Some more questions for Guru coming up. If you have anything else, you can always drop those in an email to live@verizon.com. Before we get on with the Q&A, Guru joins us just about every Friday to talk Wellness Friday. And I wanted to share what one of our employees on the West Coast is doing, finding ways to keep her family, her team engaged, to stay healthy and connected. Take a look.
My name is Deb Gino DeSantis. I am a managing client partner for our global enterprise sales within Verizon Enterprise Solutions. I have been with the company 27 years. Since COVID and our shelter in place, I think it's been more time than ever spent behind screens and on conference calls. And I think it's really important that collectively we find ways to get ourselves moving and ensure that we all remain connected. Getting ready to start my virtual one-on-ones with my team on video, staying connected. I've enacted a Friday's walk and talk with my one-on-ones. I think it's important that we get creative in how we are practicing self-care. And I think getting out and moving has really made a difference. Finally had a moment to get outside with my dog, Lance, my 4-year-old Labradoodle. Do you want to say hi, Lance? Say hi, yeah? We are ready to start our family game night of Late-Nopoly. Lance decided to join us here. And the banker, Justin, has got our money sorted out. Danica's excited to win. As we move into the next phase of what is the new normal, I think the lessons learned is really to appreciate and maybe keep some of the behaviors and connecting with our kids and getting out and doing our bike rides and hikes and time spent together. We're learning a different way to work, but it's really allowing us to kind of get back to the grounded in the basics of spending time with people that we love, that are closest to us, our family, but also ensuring that we remain connected to the people that we work with. For me, the motivation to keep going and balancing all the balls that we balance is you've really got to be passionate about what you do and stay positive.
Deb, a lot of good stuff that we can all take with us and implement in our lives. Good to see you and your family and your team doing so well across the world. Guru, let's jump into some questions here. Not going to call a lightning round, so to speak, but let's get one right to it. Another thing that a lot of folks are talking about: sports. With many of our beloved spring and summer sports with an uncertain future, how are you and the teams looking at the sports industry and coverage right now?
Sure. Hey, that's a great question, Jeremy. And I'll tell you, like all of us, I miss sports a lot. I mean, it's unfortunate what we're going through, but I'll also tell you this: sports has been one of the oldest things and stuff we did for fun, but competitive stuff, in humanity, right? When you think about it, and that's not going anywhere. It's going to come back even more stronger as you think about it. So as we know, a lot on sports right now, leagues are going through their own process to determine how they're going to continue amid the COVID-19 pandemic. But as I said, long-term, sports will come back in a much stronger way. We have an advantageous position as Verizon and Verizon Media. There's never been more exciting time to be in sports business, to be honest, because you think about 5G's ability to create next generation consumption experiences for fans, whether they be in stadiums, at home, or go open a host opportunities for Verizon Media or partners or fans. All of this creates a massive scale opportunity for us to work on that product and make it even stronger to be ready as and when the sports leagues start coming back. And I would say that's more on the consumer side, how they're going to consume. So there's going to be new experiences that's going to happen. And our sports teams are very, very focused on it, to be working hard, to be really ready as soon as things come back. I would say on the B2B or the media B2B side, there's good momentum. Just last week, we signed a new global partnership deal with Dugout. So Dugout, those who don't know, is bringing Verizon Media new exclusive advertising packages to market through its sales teams and self-serve DSP, which is what Verizon Media is bringing. We're allowing advertisers to reach Dugout's audience of 60 million unique users of highly engaged football enthusiasts across the globe. So this is soccer globally. So Dugout's library of football-related videos brought together from top leagues, world-class clubs globally, including Arsenal, Chelsea, and I'm sure some of you have some fan teams there. I know Ronan's probably thinking I didn't call out his team yet, but there are many that Dugout brings, and we're really partnering. So I think even though there is a lull right now in sports and we don't have live events happening, it gives us time to work on the platform and be ready and actually sign amazing partnerships. Diego and team, we've been working together, even with Tammy, to work with the leagues now, how to evolve in a much faster and innovative way. So really exciting times for us. I think it's going to disrupt the industry even more. So it puts us in a much stronger place.
Yeah, the business of sports continues on, even if folks aren't out on the fields. But I got to tell you, I'm with you. I'm ready to see some sports on TV again. A lot of folks want to know, obviously, a lot of your team working remotely, and that's unique and challenging. How have you and the team stayed connected? How are you making it work?
Look, to be very honest, it's definitely been an adjustment, right? Though at this point, I do feel it's a new normal. That said, we're all facing new situations, new challenges, personally and professionally. On the professional side, keeping the lines of communication, I think, you look at Hans leading by example, you have Christy and the leadership team, what you do, keeping the transparent communication on a daily basis, very, very important. So we do the same thing with our teams. I have my leadership meetings every day. Our team's doing the same thing. So we are there to answer questions, really being prompt. If anything, I feel we've become more connected on the professional side. On the personal side, we've been able to get to know each other better. I'll tell you honestly, we didn't do that. It kind of makes you feel odd a little bit when we are connected more physically and closer. We didn't know much about each other more personally. So now we know much more. I've created a text group, which has no work in there, but with all my direct reports. So we share all the fun anecdotes, pictures, what's happening in the day, sending out a morning motivation message, or somebody's got a good workout. So a lot of that goes in. And I think, look, lastly, it's about bringing everyone together, right? Let that be personal, professional. What's happened now is all our work and life has come down to the four walls. That's your life. So our employee resource groups, I think, and our culture force have done a tremendous job giving our employees access to programming like DJ sets, expert panels, cooking classes, workout offerings. I did a cooking class recently. One of my favorites was their music video challenge. So many different groups from Paris and Omaha and you name it, they've been creating amazing work from home music videos. So that's been what we've been doing. I think we have more than 2,000 employees tuning in over last day, doing some kind of virtual experiences and products and all of that. So it's good to see that balance and how people are adapting to it.
Yeah, that's good. And I watched some of your cooking challenge earlier this week. It was fun to see that. It looks like you got a great team of culinary experts on your team. And I love seeing you as Guy Fieri. Out of bounds, bro. Out of bounds. That's what he would say at this point. But a lot of good stuff to keep that going there. One final question for you before we go full on into wellness Q&A. What's the latest efforts you and your team are doing to drive mental and wellness health around the globe?
Look, this has been, Jeremy, that's a great question. And it's been a very important priority. Even before the pandemic started, mental health has been a big priority at the Verizon level, and this only accelerated. So I'm actually excited about two upcoming virtual wellness events that's coming out. One, it's called Reset Your Mindset. That will take place on Wednesday, on May 20th, next week, and then the following week on Wednesday, May 27th, on Yahoo Life and Yahoo Finance. These events will feature entertainment, sports, health, business thought leaders talking about wellness, mental, emotional, physical well-being, and how it translates at home and future of work. We have got a great lineup. I hope everybody here gets to watch it. For the consumer event, we've got everyone from Serena Williams to fitness guru, Jillian Michaels, to actress Shailene Woodley. So we've got amazing people there on the consumer event, which is happening next Wednesday. And for the business event, we've got really top CEOs and business leaders from different sectors. So I'm excited about this open dialogue about mental health and wellness with our users and business community. And Fortune is going to be partnering with us on this as well. A lot of work going on. If people have time, please go check out Yahoo Life. A lot of great content for you. If you're a parent, you want to think about meditation, to anything content between mental, physical, emotional well-being. We're really putting a lot of good effort, and we've seen our user numbers go up a lot. So please take advantage of that if you have a moment.
So many great resources, and thanks for always kind of grounding us in what is good. So with that, I want to wrap up my section, remind folks that we'll be back with Hans and Christy Monday talking about our next steps, obviously throughout the week. And, I can't end a week without saying thank you to all of our employees around the world and their families who are going through this right now and supporting one another. So thank you all for that. Like I said, back with you Monday. Guru, the show is all yours now for the Wellness Friday. I hope you have a good weekend. Thanks.
Great. Thanks so much, Jeremy. That was great, and hope you and everybody else has a great weekend. So now we're going to go into our Up to Speed live on Wellness Friday. I hope all of you are excited. We've got a very special guest joining us today, Kelly McGonigal. You might know her from her TED Talk, How to Make Stress Your Friend. I've watched it a few times, to be honest, which is actually also one of the most viewed TED Talks of all time with over 20 million views. She's a health psychologist who specializes in understanding the mind-body connection, and also the best-selling author of The Willpower Instinct and The Upside of Stress. Her latest book, we'll talk about it a little bit, The Joy of Movement, explores why physical exercise is a powerful antidote to depression, anxiety, and loneliness, such an important and timely conversation right now, if you think about it. So Kelly, thank you for being here. I'm a big fan of yours. I've been listening to a lot of your Instagram posts and also the TED Talk. So welcome. Thank you for being here with us today.
Thanks for having me. It's been so great just so far today to listen to what's happening in your community. I want to give a big shout out to Deb and to Lance for being a perfect role model of how to integrate the joy of movement into your workday.
Great. No, thank you, Kelly. So I want to start actually, the first one, I was amazed when I saw the video, which is around making stress your friend. And it actually shocked you as well when you went through the research. So talk to us a little bit. How do you make stress your friend?
Yeah, so first of all, you accept the reality that it is impossible to live a meaningful human life without stress. And the idea is not that things we call stressful are good for us, but that stress can bring out the good in you. That stress is basically what happens in your brain and in your body when something that you care about is at stake. And so your stress response can give you energy so that you can rise to the challenge. Your stress response might nudge you to reach out to others and ask for help. Stress can help you learn and grow by literally triggering the biology of resilience in your brain. And so the idea of making stress your friend is just to figure out, okay, in moments of stress, how do you turn your attention to who and what matters most to you? And then how do you harness the natural stress strengths that you are born with as a human, rather than what we sometimes do, which is look for the easiest way to feel better, or start to tell ourselves stories like, if this is stressful, it means there's something wrong with me. If I'm super stressed out, it means I'm not up to the challenge. And instead to think, okay, I'm stressed because I care. And so figure out what's the best way to harness this stress to continue to choose, your values, your goals, and the people who matter most to you.
That's very beautifully said, Kelly. If you think about now, our we team, we call Verizon team, we team, all of us, our colleagues, they've been working from home now for several weeks. You've been as well. We're all sheltering from home. I'm starting to finally get adjusted to this new setup. So Kelly, when you think about not just stress, but new setup, how have you been adjusting to this new normal? Has your work changed, and how are you doing overall?
Yeah, so my work is all about large gatherings, whether it's teaching at Stanford or talking at conferences. I was supposed to be on book tour right now. That's not happening. And even just teaching the dance classes that I teach in my local community center. So for each one of those roles, I've been looking at how to create authentic connection through video, basically. And it's so, it's a really interesting challenge because the content of my work is often about the importance of being together. That's often what I'm encouraging people to do, to come together, to have shared experiences. That, I'll talk about the benefits of a hug for your brain health. And it's really interesting to, I'd say the biggest difference now is for me to try to continue to figure out how do we create the type of social connection that we know is so important for resilience and for meaning, when we can't rely on a lot of what humans have relied on, forever, whether it's the ability to experience touch, to literally be in the same space and allow our emotions to resonate with one another. And it's challenging, but as you have been talking about, one of the things that I've been doing that has been effective is asking people to share sides of themselves that they value that maybe we don't always see in other settings. So, for example, one of my Stanford classes that got moved online, we start the course by having people share an object in their home that reminds them of someone or something they love. And so we're all getting to know each other that way, which is really, it's a nice way to connect. And it reminded, when you were talking about how you were sort of running your team, a similar way to try to bring our whole selves into this moment.
Right. No, that's great. And I think it's interesting when you start thinking about those memories and all of that. And at what point, there's going to be a shelf life for that, right? When you start thinking about memories and you start relating to objects and how you do that. I did that yesterday. I was telling someone I was eating a particular type of fruit and it reminded me of a different country. And it brought amazing thoughts doing that. Is there, the challenge, the question for you is, what's the easy trick to get into that mode? Like, how do you trick yourself to be able to relate to those things? Are there more tips on that you'd give?
Yeah, so basically it's like you were using the language of a mindset reset. So often it's thinking about what is sort of a mindset antidote to whatever is the most destructive mindsets that might be present right now. So, if you tend to feel overwhelmed, or you tend to feel lonely, or you tend to feel anxious, what's the emotional antidote? And then to really start to cultivate a set of resources that give you access to that emotion. One of the ones that I've been encouraging people to use is music. Music is one of the most powerful emotional triggers, and you can create a playlist that is linked to not only positive memories, but to lyrics that remind you of strengths. Power songs that give you a sense of energy or purpose. And since we're talking also about the importance of movement, this is actually one of the best mindset resets you can do, is put on a song that you love or that makes you feel brave or powerful. or grateful, and then move your body in a way that feels consistent with that emotion, you've taken 3 minutes, you feel better, and you're also reset for whatever it is that you have to do next.
That's great. That's great, Kelly. And I think that's a good segue into your book, The Joy of Moment, right? I want to start discussing a little bit about The Joy of Moment. It's all about how physical exercise can help us battle anxiety and loneliness, something that I know many people are dealing with amidst this pandemic. In your book, you say that exercise can change the brain in ways that makes us happier and more resilient. Can you share with us a few of the ways that exercise changes the brain?
Yeah, there are both immediate benefits and also long-term changes. So when you move your body, really in any way that gets your heart rate up a little bit, you're breathing a little bit more deeply, you're using your muscles, you will have increases in brain chemicals. The first hit is usually dopamine and adrenaline, which gives you more energy and more positive motivation. So you feel ready to pay attention, to engage with life, sort of more optimistic. And then the next thing, if you keep exercising a little bit longer, say about 20 minutes, you'll get this burst of endocannabinoids. And those are the brain chemicals that cannabis mimics. But when you get an endocannabinoid burst from moving your body, it's a little bit different than like a cannabis buzz. Endocannabinoids dampen down stress and anxiety and fear, and they relieve physical pain. So whatever's going on inside of you that was sort of like inner suffering, that starts to dial down. And endocannabinoids also enhance pleasures. So anything that could feel good is going to feel even better. And the other thing that was really surprising to me in the science is that the brain chemistry that happens when you move your body also primes you for social connection. So those endocannabinoids, they really enhance the pleasure we get from conversations, from cooperation, from being able to play or to listen. That anything that could feel good about connecting with other people, whether strangers or family members, those pleasures are enhanced by the brain changes that happen when you exercise. So that's sort of the first way to think about it is, you don't even have to worry about physically getting in shape. It is about a state change. You move your body, as little as 3 minutes will give you a feel better effect. And if you can get through 20 minutes, you're going to be in a brain state that makes you less stressed, more optimistic, and better able to connect with others. And that's just the short term. So super briefly, in the long term, we know that because of those brain changes that happen when you exercise, you actually teach your brain to change both its structure and its function to make you better able to regulate negative emotions and stress. So you become more resilient. You get more connections between the systems of the brain that help you control stress and anxiety or anger. And I think this is the most incredible. It actually changes your brain's reward system to make you more sensitive to joy and to positive motivation, so that it's not just exercise feels better, which does happen, but also meals taste better and you look more forward to a challenge at work, and spending time with your loved ones is more satisfying. Everything good in life becomes more joyful and meaningful because exercise makes your brain more responsive to joy. And I think that seems like a miracle to me. I don't know about you.
No, it does. Look, in an interesting way, I've been more disciplined now during the kind of staying at home and maintaining physical distancing. You work out every morning. There's a good routine. You get meditation in, and I can totally attest to the difference. And it's also not. I think you're making a very important point. It's not about most of the, I think we get into the stress mindset of, I got to work out this much and it's about looking good. And it's not about that. I think there's a much deeper meaning. And that's what you're explaining here, saying, look, even if you do 3 minutes, there's a value, it changes your state of mind. That's great. So, and I think there's one point that I would want to double click a little bit. You talked about exercise can be a powerful antidepressant, right? How does physical activity prevent or reduce depression?
Yeah, and so you see this actually around the world. It's been studied in so many different cultures and countries and age groups that becoming more physically active can actually be an effective treatment for depression and can also prevent depression for people who are in highly stressful circumstances. And I'm going to explain some reasons how, but I also people always worry when we start to talk about this that we're devaluing other approaches like therapy or medication. And so this is not go for a run instead of. This is in addition to anything else that supports you. One of the things, so you can think about it at a biological level. So let me share with everyone listening a biological insight about exercise that I think is the most exciting scientific finding of the past 2 decades. And that is when you exercise, your muscles secrete molecules into your bloodstream that act like antidepressant medication. And your muscles actually make them. So it's not that your brain makes these chemicals, but your muscles are making these molecules. They're storing them in your muscles. And when you exercise, that's when your muscles decide it's time to release these molecules that some scientists have called hope molecules. And they travel through your bloodstream when you exercise. They reach your brain, and in your brain, they can act as short-term sort of anti-anxiety, antidepressant. And in the long term, they also change the structure of your brain to make you more resilient to stress. So I think that's to understand that your muscles are like a pharmacy for you, and that any type of movement that involves muscle contraction can function in this way. Swimming, cycling, dancing, yoga, it's everything. And then, of course, we can go to the psychological level, which is, people who move know that movement can change the way you feel about yourself, that when you move, you can experience yourself as someone who can persist through discomfort. You learn that you are somebody who can change and grow in meaningful ways. And so often part of what makes movement so powerful for depression or anxiety is it's almost as if movement becomes a metaphor. And you get to know the strengths that you have, and it starts to change the story that you can tell about yourself and who you are. And those stories can be really powerful when you're trying to figure out how you're going to get through grief, or get through a job loss, or get through a global pandemic. If you know that you're somebody who, in moments where your muscles are screaming to you, I can't possibly do this, I need to stop, and you've learned through running or cycling or holding a yoga pose longer that actually you can take a breath and take the next step, that's a really powerful knowing to have.
That's Kelly, you bring up I want to double click on this a little bit, which is you're getting to the point, which is physical activity, especially powerful at building social connections in a way. You take that and can you talk a little bit about why that is, and also discuss how this is different during this time when we're all, maintaining physical distancing or social distancing? What advice can you give for building social connection through movement in this context?
Yeah, this is such a challenge for me personally, because I love group movements so much. So we know, first of all, I've already mentioned, right, that your brain chemistry, when you exercise, it changes in ways that makes it easier to enjoy connecting with others. So one way you can harness this now is to know that even if you can't exercise with your usual walking group or the group fitness class you love, even if you exercise on your own, the very next time you connect with someone, because those brain chemicals don't evaporate, it's a state change. And after you exercise, you're a different version of yourself, often for hours afterward. So you do your personal workout, and then you go spend time with your kids or your spouse, or you go onto a Zoom call. That who you are is going to be able to get more out of every social interaction. That text message that you get from a family member far away, you're going to get more of a warm glow out of it. It's going to feel more like social contact if you've created this brain state that really helps you exploit our ability to connect and take joy in that. So that's one way to think about it. But we also know that when you move with other people, there's also this thing called a synchrony effect, that when humans move together, we start to sense ourselves as deeply connected, and it causes you to trust the people you move with more. It leads to bonding and strong communities and relationships. And it's one of the reasons why people love the groups that they move with, even if they start out as strangers, whether it's a sports team or, a running club or a dance class. So that's much harder for us now. And I've been encouraging people to lean into the virtual, and to know that even if it feels like a bit like a paler shadow of the real thing, that it is a way to maintain connections. And there's even some interesting research that when you move with an avatar, so like a virtual human being, you do still feel connected to that avatar. And you get the same endorphin rush that we believe is a signature of the social bonding that happens during exercise. So even if you have to, do that Zoom exercise class, or you're doing a video, to know that if you're following along virtually, you're still going to get that same endorphin rush that makes us feel bonded and connected. And then again, you can harness that and basically think about pointing that positive state change in the direction of the connections that you actually are able to sustain at this time.
Yeah, and Kelly, that's a great point. I do this with a couple of my colleagues and friends. We do indoor biking together in the morning, generally early morning, and I can now relate to what you're saying. One of the things we do first thing is we'll text each other. Okay, are we all on this together? We'll pick a class duration and either 30 minutes, 45 minutes. In many ways, at least mentally, you're putting them in the frame, saying, okay, we're all riding together. And it makes you feel like, no, you've got to visualize a lot and go through that. But I think, we've got the brain power to manage that and go through that. It's beautiful the way you explained it. And now I'm connecting to what I'm doing. It's going to have a newer meaning based on what you said. But you mentioned a little bit about being outside as well, right? Which is harder now, and being with the groups, which is around being in nature. Like being in nature is particularly powerful in terms of form of physical activity, just taking a walk, whatever it is, right? Being outside. How does being in nature affect the mind?
Yeah, this is a particularly powerful way that movement can change your mindset. There's something about being active in nature that affects the brain very similar to meditation. So there's these fascinating studies looking at brain activity after people have gone for a walk in nature. And what you see are changes that look almost identical to what you see in people who have dedicated thousands of hours to training the mind in mindfulness meditation. And what that feels like when you experience it is all that inner chatter that creates so much stress and suffering, it quiets down without effort. So you're not struggling to suppress worries. You're not trying to push away the things that you don't want to think about now. The mind just quiets and enters this state of feeling connected to the present moment through what you hear and what you see and what you smell. And part of it is the rich sensory stimulation that we often get from being outdoors. And so many people report that any sort of activity outdoors is incredibly calming and also empowering, because nature also creates something that psychologists call the unity sensation. And that's our ability to feel connected to something bigger than ourselves. Whether and it sounds so cheesy when you're not in it, but when you're in it, it makes total sense. You feel connected to life itself. You feel a greater sense of peace with the role that your life plays in the great story of human experience. And in times like this, when we can feel so trapped, or we can feel alone, or we can feel despair, being out in nature is one of the best antidotes to that. And meditation is also, you might know, so my own scientific research is focused a lot on the benefits of meditation. And yet we also know meditation can be hard to learn. And so What's great is that, first of all, being active in nature trains your mind in how to access that state of mindfulness that can be such a relief, that can bring so much hope and peace. And also, if you're somebody who sits down to meditate, and it's almost like it turns up the volume of the inner experiences that are causing you stress, that going out in nature can be a way to more quickly tap into that relief that people often are seeking when they turn to something like meditation.
Sure. No, I think that's a great, easier way to even meditate, if you will, right? You can be out there and really zone out, and even if it's 10 minutes or 15 minutes.
You know what it is? It's not zoning out, it's tuning in. And one of the practices that I teach people is, so you go outdoors, you're walking, you're playing with your dog, you're stretching, and just turn your attention from sense to sense. So imagine that you're breathing with your ears and just listen. And then take a moment and look around you and just see what captures your attention. Feel the breeze on your skin, or the sun or the rain on your skin. And it's that tuning in rather than the idea of zoning out that is what seems to create these powerful mood changes.
I like that. I like the tuning in aspect. I'm going to keep that in mind. And the last question before we go to science of compassion, what advice do you have for people who think they don't like exercise in any form, or aren't at all active right now? What advice would you give them, or easy tricks?
Yeah, lots of people think they hate exercise because it's always been defined to them as forcing them to do something that hurts doesn't feel good, and remind you that there's something wrong with your body that you need to fix. So let's not define exercise in that way. Let's define exercise as moving your body for the purpose of experiencing all of the benefits that movement can give you. And one thing I encourage people to do is think about something that already brings them joy that they want to experience more of. So maybe it is being outdoors. Maybe it is the joy of listening to music that you love. Maybe it's spending time with a particular person, and you're going to do that, walk and talk, or a Skype yoga session, or playing with your kids, or having a dance party with someone that you live with. That there are a lot of things that we love that movement actually gives us greater access to. Maybe it's mastery. And so you're going to find something on YouTube, a really difficult yoga balance that you're going to work on, or some other physical skill that you're going to get good at in this time. And maybe that's the joy for you. It's actually called skills thrill, and that's a real thing. So don't think about how many sets you have to do of something that's going to hurt, but think instead about something you want to experience and what's the active version of that. And the other thing that I encourage people to focus on is to choose forms of movement that seem to be connected to who you want to be at this time. So I mentioned I teach a lot of dance classes, and most of my movement career has been in yoga and dance. But during this pandemic, having to shelter at home now for 2 months, I've been doing a lot of kickboxing and heavy bag work. I actually bought a heavy bag. It's in my driveway. And punching and kicking feels so empowering right now. And that's the version of myself, someone who is going to stand up, fight, and feel strong, that feels most appropriate to this moment. And so I encourage people to think about, again, if you're not defining it as something that's about burning calories, who do you want to be? And what's the movement? What's the icon, the role model? And then just do whatever version you can. Just start where you are.
Yeah, it's an interesting transition. You're talking about punching the bag and that state of mind to the science of compassion. When you think about, you do a lot of other workshops around the science of compassion. In this training, you talk about how, while compassion is a natural human capacity, it is often competing with other basic human needs and instincts, which can make it really hard to find compassion when we are faced with suffering. So can you tell us a little bit about this relationship?
Yeah, so compassion can be defined as a response to witnessing suffering. So it requires that you notice some pain or suffering in the world, could be in yourself or could be in other people. And from that recognition, you feel a desire to relieve that pain or suffering. You think you have the resources to do something, to respond, and you have this motivation that leads to action. And ideally, it also includes some sort of warm glow, that you feel good about what you've been able to do. You feel connected to the one that you're helping. It strengthens your values. That's what compassion is. And actually, I do think it is connected to kickboxing, because one of the things that compassion requires is courage. So some of the instincts that can compete with compassion are things like empathic distress, where you notice suffering and you become overwhelmed, you become afraid, you become sad, and you start to look for ways to escape those feelings, because maybe in that moment you don't feel brave enough or supported enough to engage with that suffering, and so you shut down. We also know that there is an instinct called compassion collapse, which is what happens when the suffering is so big, you don't think that anything you can do will make a difference. And so your brain, to protect you from feeling the pain of being ineffective, will actually cause you to stop paying attention and to stop caring as much. And so we know there are all these competing instincts that can work against our natural compassionate nature. And courage is actually one of the best antidotes, as well as focusing your attention strategically on what you can do. So compassion as a human instinct is meant to work at the local, interpersonal level. Like you see a stranger or a loved one who's suffering, and you physically lend a hand. So in this time when we're faced with so much global suffering, as well as personal suffering, it can be really useful to think, okay, what's a single action I can take to take care of myself? What's a single action I can take today to support the people I care about most in my household or my community? And as you have the resources, what's a single action I can take today that supports global well-being? And that's why people are drawn to things like making masks, or to celebrating people who are on the front line, essential workers, through song and cheer, because they have a sense that in that moment, even if they can't fix all of the suffering in the world, they're choosing to do one thing that honors their desire to help and support. And so that's my best advice right now. One thing for you, one thing for your loved ones, and something that honors your commitment to supporting the world, knowing that, like, the great thing about compassion is it's not a do-it-yourself project. It only works when everyone is doing their part, and also everyone is open to receiving the support that is available to them from others.
Sure. No, thank you, Kelly. That's very true, and we need that even more today. Like how we should look at compassion. If you were to sum up between the joy of moment and compassion, as we take quick tips for everybody, what would you give your last comments for all of us here listening to you?
Yeah. So the biggest thing that surprised me in researching the joy of movement was how no matter who I talked to and what their favorite activity was, we're talking about people who are running ultra marathons, doing obstacle courses, powerlifting. Everyone told me the greatest joy was interdependence, that through that movement form, they discovered that they were both able to help and support and celebrate others, and to be helped and supported and be celebrated by others. And I think that is just so important for the time we're living in now. If nothing else, the situation is saying you cannot deny that interdependence is the core of what it means to be human. And so to the degree that we can take joy in that and celebrate it, rather than feel afraid by the fact that our well-being is linked to the well-being of others, and we need one another, and also we have something to offer others. We need to take joy in that and just embrace it. And movement often is one of the ways people first learn to do that. So I think that's the key takeaway for our times.
No, thank you. I would take that as just the joy and interdependence, and the net of it is we are all in this together, having that feeling of togetherness. So Kelly, thank you so much for joining us today. This was so insightful, and I imagine really helpful for everyone. I've taken notes, and I know we'll share this again. For those watching, you can find Kelly online at kellymcgonigal.com. Also on Instagram, if you want to learn more. Her latest book is The Joy of Moment, is out now. Thank you again for tuning in. I hope all of you have a great weekend, and please take Kelly's advice and take time to move, whether that's practicing yoga, don't compete, don't stress out, taking a jog, walking, a dance party with your kids, or just a walk around your neighborhood, but make a commitment to yourself to find that joy and movement. I know I will, in that togetherness in many ways. So have a great weekend, everyone. Stay safe, stay strong. We'll see you next week. Bye. Thank you.